Hi, welcome back to Chapter 15 of Pirates of Savannah audiobook. Please remember you can get the commercial-free version at lupolilink.com, or you can support me by buying a book or a product. Thank you.
Chapter 15 Gods and Freedom. Don't you worry about the gold, Duncan. Or should I say, Archibald. I forgot which name you be using from time to time. Your payment be safely in the captain quarters below, although I am told my private quarters is now jam-packed with barrels of gunpowder and cannonballs. I will get you your money after we celebrate. You sound like you had a very difficult journey, the captain surmised.
Well, top me off with a little rum before I get trampled by all these damn mules.
So, where shall we be dropping off your savage at? She asked while sipping on her mug of rum.
There is an Indian trading post he wants to be dropped off at. It's on the mainland, just north of Tybee Island. We should be there by sunset if the winds hold,
Archibald reckoned. He best be taking his dog with him, too. I don't like how that collie's staring at Reagan, waiting to make his move. Poor cat won't come down from the rigging.
Aye. He'll take all the animals and his bags of gold,
the blacksmith stated.
Speaking of which, I'm ready to be paid now. I don't want to know who you're selling these to, but I hope it's not the British. I do hope you make enough money to start saving for a new ship.
I will not make you wait any longer. Stay here. My wolf, come help me with these bags. The captain replied as Patrick sprang to his feet and followed the madam below deck.
My wolf?
Archibald shot Patrick a confused look. Patrick grinned ear to ear at Archibald. He smiled so much that his dimples showed below his beard as he descended down the stairs. You had the gold here the entire time? Hell, I even carried it for you and I didn't know, Patrick exclaimed. Yes, love. A girl's got to keep her secrets, she smiled. I bet you have more secrets than even you can remember, he teased. She worked herself carefully through a maze of cannons, carts, and artillery until she found her bag. Even with her skinny frame, April muscled the heavy bag up and shimmied back through the cannon and cart obstacle course before bounding back upstairs to where the group of men were waiting for their payments. As instructed, I split the gold doubloons evenly into 8 bags, 1 for each cannon. April pulled out 8 small bags and handed them to Archibald. He opened the bags and counted the coins as the gold sparkled in his eyes and he grinned.
William, here's your bag of gold. What will you do with it?
Archibald asked the kilted man.
I hopes it'll be enough to buy me brethren's freedom back from Fort Mose. They still be in dar, and the clan's counting on me to save 'em, William replied.
I'm hoping you buy their freedom in haste. Let me know if I can help you,
Archibald offered.
Isaac, what do you intend to do with your share?
The blacksmith asked.
I'll buy off the rest of my contract and finally be free. With the remaining gold, I will give most of it to God and try to find a good Jewish woman,
Isaac explained as he counted his coins.
Patrick, what do you have planned with the booty?
Archibald inquired. I want to spend every last bit of it in the Red Lady, but I'll show restraint and save it in hopes that my family in London is finally located. I would like to bring them here when I'm freed. I will continue to work for you and honor my contract, saving my money for my sisters and me mum, Patrick summarized.
And you, warrior chief?
Archibald handed him 3 bags.
I find Creek Hoagte to continue bloodline. One is only Creek through mother, not father. I must find true Creek woman. Now rich enough to find way to buy back some sacred land. I could have many Hoagte.
He smiled devilishly. Patrick interrupted and asked, What is a Hoagte? Legochi shot back,
It is what we call women who can have children. Northern tribes call them squaws. How can I find you if I need your services again, great chief?
Mr. Freeman asked.
I come by every full moon to you. You good Mantu tribe.
The old man forced a wrinkled smile. Patrick finally asked, What about you, Archibald?
I will use the money to move my family as far from the British and Spanish as I can. Don't forget, sovereigns, the remaining bag is donated to the cause as agreed upon, he reminded the group.
The inked woman chimed in. Why is the chief getting thrice the amount as you?
He is a great chief. If it not for him, none of us would have anything at all. The cannons would have been left behind for the Spanish if he had not known about his hiding place. His wisdom has kept us safe in the swamp, and he is a great warrior,
the Whig man boasted. A proud smile crept on the typically stoic face of the Indian. He loved flattery. As much as I love hearing this, we'd be landing soon, and we get rid of these stinking mules and the lot of you. So drink up, boys, on a job well done, April yelled as she raised her mug. Captain, can I have a word with you below deck? Patrick asked humbly. April obliged and followed her new lover below the deck when he finally asked, Are you coming back with us? Hell no. If I don't keep a close eye on me booty, Captain Brewer will steal it all for himself. He would have slit both our throats as soon as we boarded, and just kept me gold if he thought he could. But he fears me and fears the people I know that would come in retribution, she explained. I have to sell this swag to some dangerous fellas, but I will make double the gold than what I gave you and your friends. I want to be free again, and captain a real dandy of a ship. Ships cost a lot of money. Well, what about our love? What'll happen to us? Patrick asked, clearing his throat. You're a sweet man, but I gotta see this through. I figure you owe me that whole bag of gold for as much sex as I gave you. The Madam Pirate smiled, but an awkward pause filled the air between them. Jesus, it was just a joke, lad. I fucked you because it was fun, and I think you're a looker. It was free of charge. I could be gone a long time, but come see me when I get back to the Red Lady. Patrick seemed to frown a little until April offered, Come on, let me give you one more good hump. Patrick nodded eagerly as she bent over one of the cannons. The two ships sailed past Tybee Lighthouse in the rosy light of the early morning. It was an impressive sight, considering it was built so rapidly. It was made of brickwork in cedar piles and was octagonal in shape. It was the tallest structure of its kind in the Americas. I had never seen it so close before. It's massive, Patrick exclaimed.
Yes, it is. A carpenter named Noble Jones from Wormslow Plantation constructed it very rapidly. He was rewarded with a lease to this land because he was respected so well by Oglethorpe. He was also a constable and a doctor, but he really won favor with Oglethorpe when he laid out the city plans for Augusta,
Archibald explained. Was a time when it'd be easy to sneak into Savannah by way of the Skidaway River. Now the Redcoats go and build a fort and a plantation on this Isle of Hope, making it much more difficult not to be spotted, April injected.
Did you get a good look at that fort? Since it was so close to the water, Jones had to make it out of tabby,
the blacksmith pointed out. I'm no carpenter. What is tabby? Patrick asked naively. Archibald explained.
It's a local mixture of shells, limestone, and water. Then it is covered with plaster and whitewash to keep the sun from weakening the structure too fast. Tabby does very well to hold up against foul weather and Spanish cannonballs if it's properly constructed.
Did you also see how he built the wood above the tabby to make it taller and more deadly to assault? See how Jones saved time and money by sharing the fort wall with that large house inside? The captain pointed out. Archibald replied,
Yes, it is a wise construction. I also heard, after Oglethorpe's failed attack of St. Augustine, he actually commissioned Jones to run a marine patrol out of Wormslow. We'd be wise to keep sailing and avoid this whole area completely.
Agreed. We'd be sailing north and out of sight of the fort in Wormslow, she concurred. The ship sailed north quietly, so as not to arouse suspicion. The Black Hound pulled up to the coast first and unloaded the mules as fast as possible. Captain K.T. Brewer was cussing about all the mule shit on his deck. He ordered the sailors to take buckets of seawater to wash the dung away. The Mary Read docked next, and the crew worked fast so as not to be seen by British eyes. The parade of mules made their way off the gangplank, followed by the exhausted, swamp-eaten, and bloodied men. The men decided to travel together for safety back to Savannah, except Ligo Chi. The old man said his goodbyes and headed to a local creek village. Patrick watched with pain in his heart as the Mary Read drifted off into the horizon. He was visibly distraught, knowing there was a good chance this would be the last time he saw the mysterious April sky.
Time to go, lad.
Archibald put a sympathetic hand on Patrick's shoulder. The men treaded into the woods and saw the Tybee Island lighthouse disappear from their view, and they knew they were almost home. They traveled wide of the Wormslow plantation and circled back around to Savannah. They waited until nightfall before entering town to bring as little attention as possible. Isaac quietly parted ways with the other three men headed to the Freeman house. As expected, it was already shut in, and Archibald wasted no time knocking on the door with a secret code. He did not want to shout for Marion to open the door and bring attention to their late-night entrance. The door quietly opened and the men rushed in. The Freemans were thrilled to see the men healthy and alive, but had many questions about their blood-crusted appearance. Archibald knew the Inquisition would be waiting, but demanded rum before he would share his tale. Heather came out with a bucket of water and a rag and started cleaning the men as they finally relaxed. The twins were merciless with their questions, and they peppered the patriarch in turns. "What happened? Where did you go? Did you kill any British, Spanish, or Indians? Did you find any treasure? Did you bring us back something? Did you see any real pirates? Were you on a ship? Did you fight pirates in the Caribbean?" When Archibald finally had enough, he demanded, "Boys, I'll tell you everything. But remember, the British will kill all of us if you have loose tongues with your mates. If you tell this story to anyone, all of us will be run through at sword point. Swear to your family and your clan you will never speak of this." The whole family took the pledge, and the father started to spin his tale. The family listened intently to every detail as the light from the lamp danced across their faces. He recounted the close calls and boasted of everyone's bravery. Heather asked, "How come you're not bloody and battle-worn, Patrick?" "I was sailing and relaxing in the sun, but I was with him in spirit." He laughed. Heather threw a wet towel at Patrick's grinning mouth, and the water splashed all over him. By the end of the tale, the entire room was on the edge of their seats.
"And we all floated away with only seconds to spare as the Spanish shot at our ships," the father finished.
"Well, did you actually get paid? Did she keep her word?" Marion questioned.
"Does this answer your question?"
Archibald asked as he poured the gold doubloons on the table. The family gasped.
Oh, my.
They had rarely seen gold, and never that much in one place. As the family ogled the coins, Archibald warned,
"We will move soon, I hope, because it's only a matter of time before the Spanish seek revenge and take Oglethorpe's head as a trophy. Before then, though, I will be leaving one more time with William. Some of our clansmen are still prisoners at Fort Mose. We will be using his gold to bribe the guards to let them escape. I am sorry, family, but I'll be leaving again in the morrow. Then, when I come back, we'll talk about moving to a new town. Start thinking of a town to move to."
Patrick excused himself and went to his shed. Under the cover of night, he slipped into the darkness and into the swamp at the edge of town. Under the moonlight, he buried his bag of gold under a Spanish moss-draped oak. He wanted no one to know, not even his new family, where the gold was hidden. For once in his life, he wanted something that was just his. The exhausted men slept late into the morning. The women washed their clothes while they slept, and they did a good job of getting most of the bloodstains out. Once they woke, they ate breakfast and made ready for the road to Darien. William would stop to see his family first before figuring out a way to broker a deal with the free Africans who held as clansmen. The bastards! No, he didn't. Loud giggling and laughter could be heard as Prudence and Mariana came calling with baskets of fresh bread and fruit. The ladies were always in a great mood, while shrouded with a hint of mischievous behavior. They both gave heartfelt hugs to the men and were glad to see them. Archibald asked his family to join him to see him off, and he handed Marian his gold and told her to hide it well.
Before I leave, I have something I made a long time ago that I've been waiting to give this group.
Archibald opened a bag and took out 6 mini dirks that he had hand-designed.
I was waiting to give you these as gifts, but I worry that the Spanish are going to answer soon, and I want you to be protected. I designed them so you can hide them under your petticoats or vests. I even made leather belts and scabbards you can use to attach them to your legs. I want all 6 of you wearing these at all times. I even made a couple for Prudence and Mariana since they are practically family. Do you understand?
He instructed while he distributed the knives. The group nodded in understanding.
Remember, if things get real heated, go to the shed and retrieve the firelocks in there.
He reminded the boys.
I want you to do early shut-in every night, and I'll be back soon. Stay invisible. No going to listen to music or courting foolish men out of their silver, ladies. Now give us a hug. We have to go if we want to make it before nightfall.
The men set off once again down the winding road to Darien. They traveled fairly light, but well armed. Soon they saw Isaac, dressed for travel and waiting for them. "Lad, are you here to wish us well?" William asked.
No, Sovereign Macintosh. I plan on seeing this through with you. We're brothers, and I honor that.
The hulking Jew responded.
What does Dr. Nunes say about this journey? He surely will be annoyed with all your travel,
Archibald inquired.
This morning I make my own path. I'm finally a free man. I purchased my contract from Dr. Nunes, and I still have plenty of gold left. I have to say, even the air smells different when you're a free man.
Isaac observed proudly. Huzzah! The men cheered and embraced him. It was indeed a reason to celebrate. Most indentures died many years before they were ever free. "Well, lad, we sure could use your muscle for this dangerous mission. Bless you," William said. The 4 men made it to Williams without incident. His family met him on the porch with open arms. Some sweet greetings were exchanged in Scottish, and the men sat down for a drink before the sun set. The same scene from last night's at the Freemans was repeated at the Macintoshes, except William told their exciting tale in a Scottish tongue. Although Patrick had no idea what they were saying, he figured out some of the stories from William's animated movements. Patrick had a feeling each time this tale was told it would get more elaborate. He joked with Isaac. By the time we ever tell this story to our children, it'll also involve us sailing around the world and slaying sea monsters and cyclopses. "William, why did you ever name your daughter Lauren?" "It's not a very Scottish name, is it?" Patrick asked after some drinking. "Lad, we be travelling through Italy trading, and we named her after the town she was conceived in. It is old Latin for man of Laurentum, a town of Latinum. It was to remember our wonderful voyage there together," William explained. The men laughed and enjoyed the drink as the night wound down. Normally, proper Scottish men slept under a tree, but with so many road agents on the attack, this tradition was no longer safe. The family shut in and carried on into the night. When the men woke, they ate breakfast and hatched a plan.
William, how well do you know the men left behind at the African fort? Are they sympathetic to the cause of liberty and personal sovereignty?
Archibald asked.
Aye, Duncan. That's right, I be calling you Duncan in your real Scottish name. And stop speaking like a goddamn Brit in my house. Use your natural Scottish tongue,
William insisted.
But aye, most of them prisoners get it, and even come to some of our Scottish Freemen Society meetings. I would like to make a proposal. I think the bag of gold marked to help the cause should be used to buy these men's freedom. I can't think of a better investment than freeing souls with this money. What says the rest of you?
Duncan inquired. The men slowly looked at each other from around the table, and one by one nodded in agreement.
Very good, William. Keep your gold for your family, and we'll use this bag instead. Now, with that done, I have a plan. We cannot just stroll up to a hostile fort with a bag of gold and expect to come out alive. We need to find a Spanish deer pelt trader working around the fort and pay him to take a letter back to Alec. He saved our lives before, and I think he would broker this deal for us. The money would greatly help his people, and they don't want to have to keep caring and feeding for these prisoners, Archibald surmised.
Isaac voiced his concern.
That will be a very dangerous gamble. I don't like the idea of getting anywhere near that fort. We need to ask Alec to meet us and escort us down to Fort Mose.
Patrick agreed. That is the best thing to do, but this entire plan is dangerous.
Say your goodbyes. Time to go free our clansmen,
Archibald told William. In the morning, the mist started to burn off the swamp, and two dark figures could be seen sitting on the rocks in the marsh. The four men approached carefully until they heard a woman's voice yell, "Archibald, Archibald, that be you?"
"Gloria, is that you?"
he yelled through the very heavy swamp mist. The four men dropped their guard and walked over to Alec and Gloria. Archibald made formal introductions of the group to the freed slaves.
"I'm so happy you two made it safely to Fort Mose,"
Archibald said.
"We lucky. We find Spanish fort trader,"
Gloria responded.
"He take us to the fort. The warriors at the fort welcome us, and we are happy there. They great warriors. Feel safe finally."
"I'm glad you found peace with your clansmen. Did you understand the note?" Archibald asked.
"We not be lettered. We had prisoner read it. The tribe at fort want your gold. They say prisoners escaped to Spanish. Tribe no trust white man. Yours must pay now. I return with prisoners,"
Amick explained. "He did save our lives. We have to trust him, lads." William tried to ease the nervousness of the men. "Well, anyone think to bring a chess set?" Patrick mused. Camp was made, and the men waited vigil. "Archibald, how come you never talk about God and church? I thought you Scots were a religious bunch," Patrick questioned.
"We are, just not Archibald,"
William replied. Archibald sadly confessed.
"I lost all faith the day I saw my entire family murdered by the British. What kind of God would allow that kind of savagery? Now I look back and I find the whole notion silly. Do you really think there's a king in the sky sitting on a throne deciding who will burn in hell for eternity?"
Isaac responded.
"I would not talk like that. This God is a vengeful God to non-believers. Jews love and fear their God." "So you think a being powerful enough to create everything was bored one day and just decided to make man entertain himself? What's the point? If he already knows what's going to happen with everyone before they do it, why would he bother?"
Archibald blasphemed.
"It be sorrows I feel for you, Duncan. You carry a great darkness for God around in your soul. If you let him back in, he can make the pain disappear,"
William injected.
"William, you're an intelligent man. Tell me, why does your God have to threaten me with the worst kind of torture, burning alive forever, if I don't accept his love? Does that sound like any kind of love that makes sense to a rational person?"
The blacksmith countered.
"God made man in his own image. So if man gets angry and jealous, so must God too. He uses fear and love, just like all relationships I have ever known. I fear my father, but I still love him,"
Isaac responded.
"I'm not trying to be disrespectful to you two. I just think these stories were made up to control the masses. The most dangerous two ideas on earth are religion and government. No two ideas have been the death and misery of so many people. The flawed idea that government is necessary and that my religion is right and yours is not. Open your eyes. This dogma was created to control your minds by politicians and church officials,"
Archibald pleaded.
Well, I'll have to agree that church and government have killed countless souls. They are good ideas. Without them, man would have no laws and kill each other with no accountability. I do not think that it is a fair statement. There are many good and righteous people who work for governments and churches. They're just following the orders of bad people. They don't have a choice,
Isaac replied.
That is such shit. Of course they have a choice. Why does a good person just follow bad orders? They simply lack the courage not to comply. It is so easy for someone to say, I'm just following orders. That kind of attitude is exactly why government or religion can kill so many people and still be worshipped and followed. If you can disassociate someone from the consequences of their actions, they can do unspeakable evil and just blame their superiors.
Archibald was getting heated. I don't associate myself with any church, but I find my peace with God on a personal level. You don't need some man in the middle to allow you to have a relationship with the Almighty. You simply don't understand. You cannot try and poke and prod the good book without believing in it first. You have to believe first. Then these questions are easier to answer, coming from a position of faith. The kilted man returned. Isaac interjected.
He is correct. Without faith first, this book seems to make no sense. You do have to remember to take the message behind it, and not worry over all the details. People who believe these teachings will find a great reward in inner peace.
Archibald answered.
I will concede that most people who worship are good people. I just do not understand why they submit to control, and even create positions of authority. Positions of any kind of authority attract the worst kind of people.
Unless you accept the Lord in your heart, you just can't understand the answers to this question. I don't want to talk about it anymore,
William concluded.
Wait, isn't that kind of backwards? Why would you first believe something just so you can understand it? One would think you would need to understand this book first before one can believe it, Patrick pointed out. I said we'd be done. Ya heathens just don't get the line of reasoning we be conveying. I'm going to bed, William challenged angrily.
I guess we're on first watch, lad,
Archibald said to Patrick. The night passed quickly to morning as the night watch shifts changed. The next day grew long as the men grew more and more anxious without the return of Alec. Until Isaac confessed,
I think we might have just been politely robbed. I thought you Jews were all about having faith,
Archibald returned. Isaac shot daggers at the blacksmith from his eyes. Time went by slowly, and the group started second-guessing their decision to trust the freed slave with their gold, and begun bickering with each other. As the argument became more heated, they were abruptly interrupted by sounds from the edge of the marsh, which revealed a large group of 20 African warriors dressed in full battle paint and gear. Isaac yelled,
Looks like we've been betrayed. Let's make haste.
The 4 men agreed with Isaac's assessment and started falling back in retreat. Wait! Wait! A woman's voice called out. Gloria ran into the marsh and was yelling something in her African tribal tongue to the warriors. The warriors reluctantly lowered their spears from their attack positions. Patrick stopped running first and waited. The other fleeing men halted as well. Then a ratty, sickly-looking group of Highlanders and Indians stumbled into the marsh. Gloria escorted the motley gang to Archibald as the warriors cautiously watched the exchange. Sorry it took so long. Big fight with tribe. Elders want to keep money and prisoners. Alec had to fight Elder and was hurt. But Alec wouldn't fight, so promises kept to use, Gloria said.
I'm sorry about Alec,
Archibald asked.
How bad is he injured?
He broke his hand and arm, but will recover. Very important to his honor to keep his word true to use, Gloria said proudly.
Tell him he is an honorable man and a great man. Thank him for saving so many souls. But we have a problem, Gloria. We only wanted the Highlanders. We never paid for the Indians, Mr. Freeman stated.
Gloria looked back at the angry warriors and nervously spoke. I am not lettered. The note said prisoners. We assumed yous wanted them all. Yous have to take the redskins. These warriors will kill them if you do not take them. William said, "Duncan, we cannot be leaving these redskins to their death when we can so easily just take them with us. A man deserves to be free." Archibald nodded.
Come on, you lot. Let us make haste quickly. Thank you, Gloria. You have helped save many lives.
She had come to an epiphany with a smile.
Making people free feels good for heart. I hope more slaves from Carolina come to Fort Mose in freedom.
That is very brave. Let me know if I can ever help you. Now we need to go. Your warriors look angry.
Archibald offered. Mr. McIntosh led the group of ex-prisoners out of sight. The group pushed quietly and quickly toward the town of Darien. When enough distance had been made from the warriors of Fort Mose, the large group started celebrating. The Scottish cheers and blessings filled the air while the Indians sat quietly and fearfully. Archibald confronted the sad group, sitting on the ground.
Do one of you speak English or Scottish?
A hesitant Indian stood up.
I speak. We now sold to you. What you have us do?
Archibald looked at his friends and they nodded.
Tell your tribesmen, yes, we did buy you, but now we are letting you go.
Archibald smiled.
Go? You mean you selling us to Caribbean fields?
The confused Indian asked.
No, you're free to go. Go back to your tribe and your families. We will not sell you into slavery. Now tell the others.
The confused Indian conveyed the message to the other ex-prisoners. With looks of confusion, they slowly got up and cautiously started to walk away. The translator stayed behind and asked,
Why you do this, white man? We do not believe one man should ever own another. All men deserve to be free. Just remember us if we ever need help in the future. Help us,
Archibald explained.
We will help you, just as Creek Tribe near Tybee when you need. Show Tribe this when you need us.
The Indian agreed proudly and handed Mr. Freeman his family's belt he was wearing. He left with a large group of free Indians, whooping war cries of freedom as they departed. Duncan, our kin want to get back to their farms tonight and see their families. Let us head out in haste. You have helped do a very good deed today. God bless your heathen heart, William excitedly announced. In true Highlander tradition, the exhausted men ran all the way back to Darien. William parted ways with his excited kinfolk and returned to his home with his friends. Deborah met him with tears of joy. The Scottish community had lost so many fathers to the sneak attack at Fort Mose that the town of Darien was in serious disarray. Returning just a few fathers to their families would greatly help with morale. The men celebrated with drinks and old Scottish songs late into the night. When the sun rose, the two hungover men warmly embraced and said their goodbyes.
I'm happy I could finally do something good for the clan again. You are the only family I have left.
Archibald embraced the Scot.
Oi, Duncan, don't ever forget who you are or where you're from.
William hugged his brother.
Thanks for your help, lads. We'll all see you at the next Freemen's Society meeting.
The men were excited to finally be going home to enjoy their spoils of war. They arrived in Savannah in short time. The sun had just set, and the men had said their goodbyes to Isaac as they parted ways. Archibald and Patrick were joking around about how they would spend their gold when Archibald stopped dead in his tracks. They noticed from a distance 2 armed British soldiers standing at attention outside his house.
Why are they not shut in? Go get Isaac. Something's very wrong,
Archibald ordered.